No, I think it is functional. I think Turkey is a problem without any doubt. I think it's really President Erdogan who's the problem. I don't think that's where the Turkish nation is as a whole. And but it is unique in that sense, and it's always been a somewhat difficult relationship with the European countries to begin with. I think there's a lot of room for improvement in NATO. There's no doubt about it. I'm also personally a believer of the idea of former Spanish Prime Minister Jose Maria Aznar to make NATO a global organization, to bring in Japan, Australia, Singapore, Israel, to name a few candidates. President Bolsonaro of Brazil has said he would like to join NATO. I think these are things we ought to think about. People have often talked about a league of democracies as an alternative to the United Nations. NATO is a league of democracies, and making it worldwide, I think, would make a lot of sense.
Ambassador, it sounds to me when you mentioned some of those nations as well, you're possibly talking about a policy of encirclement, possibly containment of one particular power. Would it be that the focus of a renewed and enlarged NATO would be basically facing down any possible threat from China?
Well, look, I think China is the existential question for the West as a whole in the 20th century. It's not pursuing a Western approach either to economics or to politics, domestically or internationally. I think it's trying to expand its hegemonic power in its region and in some respects globally. I think the conflict over Huawei is a good example. Huawei is not a commercial telecommunications company. It's an arm of the Chinese state. I think China has demonstrated its hostile capabilities in the South China Sea. It's trying to make it into a province of China. There's just been an armed clash with India in Ladakh along the line of actual control. So this is a very, very serious issue, and I think we're all waking up a little bit late to the Chinese threat, but I think it's real, and I think it is worth discussing among the industrial democracies.
And where have been the policy mistakes so far with the administration from Mr. Trump regarding China? He's played very strongly on his personal relationship with Mr. Xi as well, but would you say that that hasn't gone far enough in creating the right atmosphere between the two countries? Actually, should there be a personal relationship between Mr. Trump and Mr. Xi?
Well, personal relationships in international affairs are fine, but nobody should think that Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin or other particularly authoritarian leaders let a personal relationship interfere with their pursuit of their national interest, nor should the leader of a democracy let it interfere. I think the way we deal with China would be much enhanced if we had better European-American cooperation. I think we would be more powerful in dealing with some of the Chinese abuses in international trade and stealing intellectual property, forced technology transfer, and the like. So we're all waking up late to the Chinese threat. I think for several decades we persisted under the idea that China was engaged in a peaceful rise and it would be a responsible stakeholder. I think if anybody had any questions on that, the way China handled the coronavirus pandemic should prove the real case. They covered up, they lied, they engaged in a disinformation campaign that's continuing to this very day.